From Moses to Shakespeare, from ancient Norse sagas, from folklore and legend unfolding like ragas. We live by the stories we hear. We remember the stories we fear. That's a line from one of my most favorite musicals. It's a homegrown musical called Forbidden City, Portrait of an Empress. It was the first musical I ever saw live 15 years ago. Ever since then, it seeded a passion and a love for the arts, which has grown so much. I'm so excited to be here representing the industry to talk about the powerful domino effect that the arts has in society. I was a little bit hesitant when I was invited to do this TEDx talk, because in my mind, a TEDx speaker kind of had to have the swag of Steve Jobs introducing a new iPhone. I don't think I can do that, but what I can do is share with you my stories, the stories that I encounter every single day at my work, and the stories that will help you understand the importance of the arts and why you need to support it. Now, before we do all that, we need to begin to understand about the arts in Singapore specifically. 25 years ago, the company I work for, Singapore Repertory Theatre, was born. Back then, there were not very many theatre or arts organizations around. 25 years later, we have 150 arts and heritage organizations that organize over 5,900 events every year, attended by 2.8 million patrons. So the next time you say there's nothing to do in Singapore, you're not really trying very hard enough to find these events. But few people see beyond the glitz and glam of the stage. Few people actually know and understand the business of the arts, and that's really my job. So let me share with you 3 things that maybe you might know, you probably don't know about the arts. Number 1, most arts and heritage organizations in Singapore are charities, non-profit organizations. Number 2, unlike our counterparts in Europe that receive something like 70% state funding, we get, as a major grant recipient, about 5 to 6% of our annual budget from the government. Number 3, ticket sales only account for about 50% of our revenue, which means that we are heavily reliant on donations and sponsorships from individuals and organizations. On the topic of donations, Singaporeans are a very, very generous bunch. They've donated something like $2.9 billion every year, and the number is growing with each year. But because a lot of people think the arts is already very rich, or it's a very frivolous cause, that there's no need to give to the arts. Less than 4% of that amount goes to all the organizations I talked about earlier on. Now, despite all of these restrictions and problems, the arts still goes on to have a very powerful domino effect in society. And I'll cover 3 of them today with you: engage, educate, and enrich. So let's move on to the first domino effect of engage. I think the problem with the world today is we live in a very disengaged society. If you look around the trains and the restaurants, what do you see? Everyone's got their face glued to their phones. I saw a great video online about this artist who did this image of people in everyday scenarios, sort of doing the things they do just without their phones. There was a couple lying with their backs facing against each other, with their hands empty, just staring into it like that. I think that's symptomatic of the loneliness that we find ourselves in this world today. See, theater forces people to engage because of the very nature of how you appreciate it, the arts in general. You get your friends, your loved ones, people you care about, generally people you like, and you go and you have a great night out together, be it at a theater, at the galleries, at a festival. A great example of this is Shakespeare in the Park, which you see in the slides behind you. It's a fantastic thing. We do it every 2 years now. 20,000 people come to watch Shakespeare being done in an accessible, modern, exciting way. But it's more than just a Shakespeare play. It's about a picnic with people you love, with your colleagues, with your lover. It's a fun night out. It's a shared experience under the stars. See, theater is about bringing people together. And it does that in a fun way, in a way that's memorable. But more importantly, it covers great numbers of topics. One of the things I love to do is stand just on, this is Fort Canning Park, stand on the hill and watch people walk out and hear the conversations that they're talking about. Shakespeare wrote about many wonderful things. And it gives people points of reference, common points of reference to talk about things that matter, the human condition, power, love, jealousy, things that impact us every single day. Now, if that's what one arts event can do in terms of bringing people together, can you imagine 5,900 events every single year? I think that's a domino effect that's so crucial. And that's something that the arts can do, which Netflix can only dream about ever doing. Second domino effect, engage. Now, the arts is more than just something that's entertaining. The arts can use its popular mass appeal to bring people together to address important social issues. This is a picture from The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by National Theatre, which we staged at the Esplanade earlier this year. It's a fantastic story about a boy named Christopher, who's autistic, who goes on this journey to find out who killed the neighborhood dog. Very, very nice show. I had a kid, an autistic boy, who came for the show. It was a relaxed performance, a special performance designed for autistic patrons as part of our partnership with Autism Association of Singapore. He wrote a card, which he asked me to pass to the actor who played Christopher. And the card said, "Thank you. Because for the first time in my life, I've seen someone on stage who looks like me, who thinks like me, who feels like me. For the first time in my life, I feel quite normal." You see, this kind of representation is possible through the arts. And it's not just important for the autistic boy. It's important for everyone else. Because when everyone else goes to watch the show, they're reminded of the fact that we're so privileged, of the fact that we need empathy, that we need understanding of different communities with different needs. That's education and that's advocacy. That's so powerful and so visceral. Another example, just last night, I was at a play called Michael Chang's Private Parts. It's a local play, and it tells the story about 3 transgendered women going through transition. From being a man to a woman, woman to a man. Most people kind of freak out, don't really know what to do about these sort of things. But at the end of the show, you walk out with the understanding that they're just human, who want to be loved and who want to love in return. The arts has the ability to normalize what is not seen as normal. It has the power to dispel fear of the unknown because it does one thing very well. It tells a story. A story that connects and resonates with individuals, that broadens minds, that creates momentum of change. And that's a powerful, powerful domino effect that, again, cannot be ignored. Last domino effect for today, enrich. It's no secret that the arts is key to capturing imagination and nurturing creativity in a way that a classroom, no offense to the teachers, can't. There's something fun about going to the theater. It's live entertainment, and we do lots of children's shows at SRT, and there's so many things around going on in general in Singapore for your kids and for your family. And that kind of holistic development at such a young age is so crucial because our kids these days are obsessed with math and science and engineering, which are so crucial and important. But so is literature and humanities and history and the arts. Because we've seen with our leaders in the world today what happens when you forget these lessons. It's important to develop society holistically. The arts nourishes and enriches the lives, especially of the people who need it the most. Just last week, I was at the theater, and we were staging this show called Nursery Crimes. It's a very fun children's play about a world where nursery rhymes has kind of gone topsy-turvy. We worked with a donor who had underwritten tickets for a charity called Love Nils. They're a charity that works with children, underprivileged children who have cancer. Brought in 60 of them to come and watch the show. I was there to receive them. At the end of the show, one of the kids ran up to me and grabbed me and hugged me, and he said, "I'm so happy, thank you so much. I started chemotherapy this week, and it really hurts. But all week, I could only think about one thing, it's I'm going to watch a show about stories I love." It's for the little moments like this that me and my colleagues in the art industry work so hard every single day, full knowing we will never have the bank accounts of lawyers and doctors, but knowing that when you gift the magic of theater to just one person, one child, you're not just making an impact on them and helping them create this amazing experience which they're going to remember for a long time, but you're impacting their brothers, their sisters, their mothers, their fathers. And that creates a trickle effect. Because when everyone does that, then you go on to nourish the very soul of a nation. I'm going to wrap up my speech with a call to action for you. 3 things that you can do to enable the rippling effect and the powerful domino effect of the arts. Patronage. Get off your Netflix. Go to the theater. Go to the many free events, from the lights and arts events in the civic district to in your own neighborhoods. We need people like you to come and watch shows. Only then will you experience the domino effect of the arts in your life. And remember, don't just go to MBS and watch the 4th run of Wicked. That's great. Watch local theater. Watch local stories. Go find them. They're around. We create them. It's so important as an international community that we know the world we live in, the society we live in. And you can learn that by going for local theater. Donorship. As I mentioned, the arts is poor. You might not look it. We are. We're charities. And what you can do is organize your communities. Get your colleagues together. Get your friends in school together. Start a fundraiser and underwrite tickets for underprivileged children to come to the theater. This will be the first time they've ever stepped foot in a theater. Some of them, unfortunately, this will be their last. And that's a difference that you can make very tangibly. Just $25 can underwrite the ticket for one child. $25. That's the amount you spend on a Grab. Advocacy. Be an ambassador for the arts. Because it's not enough for me to do speeches like this. What really matters is grassroots change and a change in mentality that the arts isn't frivolous, it's important, it's crucial, it's necessary. So, with that, I hope you've enjoyed my speech today, and I hope to see you at the theater.